So when I speak with customers, they mainly tell me 3 key challenges that they face when it comes to EPD creation. And those are the time needed, the cost, and the complexity of the process. So, how will EandoX help me as a customer with those 3?
It's fully understandable as well from a customer perspective. I mean, I have worked with EPDs for a really long time. And traditionally, when it comes to EPDs, it is a fairly complex process. And also, it has been so far utilized for expert by expert, you can almost say. So we have not really taken into consideration how we can make it simplify the processes. So I think what we have done with the EandoX is really put ourselves in the user seat as maybe a non-expert to understand what do we need to have to do to be able to enable you as well. And I mean, to scale this to all the companies that need to do this in the next 5 years with only the experts will not work. So we are quite into this question, we can say. And this brings us quite well into the time spent as well. So I mean, we are using different techniques. Of course, we are into the AI area as well. So how can we utilize AI to actually speed up the process of bringing in data? Because data collection and data validation is quite a lot of the time you actually spend to make an EPD. You also need to understand, if you make an EPD from an LCA software, then often the process is that you make the analysis or the simulation. You bring the simulation into an Excel file, you bring it from an Excel file to another Excel file, you bring it from an Excel file to a Word document, you generate a PDF. All these processes is quite time consuming, and it also opens up for errors. Often you'll not do it right the first time, so you need to go back and change something in your calculations, and then you end up in this loop again that becomes really, really time consuming in this. When it comes to the money, I think it goes 2 ways. So it's both, of course, it's time consuming. You can't do it yourself, so you always need to buy support how to do it. By utilizing a tool like EandoX, where you can actually bring your own competence to the game and actually contribute yourself, because you are the one as a customer, you are the one having the knowledge of your products. So you can bring that into the software, then you can actually reduce the cost as well. And also, with EandoX being a system, when you have spent the money and time and effort to do take the first path, then this you can utilize along your journey. So you don't need to go like this every time spent to get somewhere. It's a little bit to have your business system. It's a little bit of an effort to set it up the first, but when you have it, it's quite nice to bring out the calculations on Fridays, how the week have been going.
How do we support a customer from start to finish to actually utilize EandoX in an effective way?
But I think, of course, we cannot pack all customers in the same box. So depending a little bit of the company size, your ambitions, your initial understanding and how much internal knowledge you have about LCA and EPDs. So in theory, you can, on your own, bring you along the full journey. You get onboarded, you have the competences, you can start to produce EPDs. We can also provide support. So we can support you along the journey of making EPDs, so make sure that you with absolutely no previous expertise can bring you quite smoothly from your beginning of making an EPDs until you have it published in the different operators.
So what do you foresee in the future for EPD creation?
As everything else, I mean, when you're starting to get a lot of data, then you want to compare. This is in human nature. You compare prices, you compare performance, you will compare environmental impact as well. And when it becomes more and more important to lower your environmental burden for your product to be compatible, then the result will also matter a lot more. And today we need to understand that a lot of the data being used in the EPD is aggregated from generic data sets. Meaning in reality that to supply better materials will not help your environmental impact. It will not reflect in your data. Buying green transportation, green electricity, let's say low carbon steel, it doesn't really matter if you don't go down to the source. So what we see that the use of primary data will heavily go up. I foresee at least in the future. And this is also something that we have taken quite good account of in EandoX. We actually can invite your supply chain to bring primary data to your calculations in a simple and easy way.
And what is the vision for EandoX and EPD creation?
We have a lot of different things, but we see that legislation coming in, especially when you speak about construction, with the CPR, Construction Product Directive, which you actually will mandate everyone to do basically an EPD. So we think in 5 years, more or less all companies have a type 3 declaration in one way or another. So what we at Yandex do is that we actually enable this transition in the market. This is both a transition, of course, for the companies to declare their impact, but it's also to enable green transition. I mean, if we speak about to make environmental choices, because that is basically everything but this transition is about choices, to give you the option to say, if I go for option A or option B, what is the consequence of this choice? Then everyone needs to have the data. And what we're doing with Yandex is that we make it possible to scale the data across the entire industry in a simple, cost-efficient and time-efficient way.
Can you give me a couple of examples of how Yandex could benefit me as a customer?
Yes, so another thing that we can see is that by standards on law, you're obligated to update an EPD as longest after 5 years. So its validity is 5 years. But we also see the trend, if you're looking at, for example, statistics on Environdeck, is approximately 9 months. We see often an update within an EPD. And if you have done an EPD according to the traditional process, you're highly dependent both of the EPD practitioner, that is in most cases not internal in your company, actually utilizing this source from elsewhere. Also the model and also the ingoing data is often not controlled or owned by you. So to update the EPD is almost like creating and starting a process all over again. So you need to invest the same amount of money and cost to actually utilize the update. With Yandex, it's your data. You have the data in your system. You're the one handling it. If it's a simple update, I'm 100% sure that everyone can do it. If it's a little bit more complex, then you can pick and choose whoever to do the update, because all the background information is stored in the system. You can almost refer it as when you're using its economical sector. So if you're doing your revision over a month, I mean, you can pick and choose whatever economic assistant to come in and support you with this, because you have it in your system. It's standardized in a specific way. So even if someone is leaving, you're not in the hands of that person, you can say, in that sense.
So for 2025, we have a lot of exciting things to be launched. Can you give a couple of examples of cool things we are launching in this year?
Absolutely. So I mean, we have a lot of things upcoming. And one of the major updates will be that we have actually now gathered all the EPDs available in the world, and we are bringing them into the software. So if you have a supplier or a product along your supply chain that actually have produced EPDs so far, you can use like this value within the platform in a very seamless and easy way. We also improve in the way how to actually invite your supply chain and manage your supply chain in a very efficient way, we can say. We have plans to launch also an EPD verification support tool, you can say. So almost like a co-pilot to help you within the verification part. We also quite heavily invested in the AI sector. So we also have a lot of different things with AI that both will be launched as products, and also we have as other initiatives that we will try out for the future, how we can automate and simplify even more for the different customers.
And if we talk specifically about how to get data into the software, what are we doing to improve that process?
Yeah, here we are using different methodologies to both. We can define the data into two different categories. So you have primary data, this data coming from you as a customer. We have secondary data, it's data gathered all over the internet and every other available places to complement this data. So these two forces we will bring together, meaning that you as a customer can upload all your documentation, connect the software to your business systems. We will bring this big pile of unstructured data. You send in what you want, almost like prompting to say, okay, I want to create a window. We're searching your data, we find the right products, and we will give you, I would actually say it's a quite good product estimation. Maybe there will be some fine tuning, but from what we're all right now, it will be really, really useful. So this means that we basically may improve the time to go from months to days to make EPDs.
So by the end of 2025, how long do you foresee it taking to create an EPD with Yandex?
Oh no, maybe someone will shoot me, but I would say I would claim days. I think we're down into days. And if you had, then we're starting from a completely new EPD. Update EPDs you will do in hours. And the idea is also to connect it as a part of your infrastructure, of course, depending on the size of your business, which area are you in, how important is EPDs for you. But we see some industries will produce thousands of EPDs in 2026. And then we see the absolute normal way of doing it is connect you as a natural part of the business systems together with your ERP system, your PIM system, and so on to automate this process. But you also can support the companies only need 1 or 2 EPDs. Then of course there is no real benefit connecting it up. So the beauty with the EPDs is that you have the flexibility to do different things to support exactly your need as a customer.
And if we look beyond EPDs, because we're also looking into other use cases, what do you foresee that EPDs will be capable of in the future?
Yeah, but we know also like EPDs, depending on which industry you are, the size of your company and so on, EPDs can be more or less relevant right now. But what we will give as a recommendation to all businesses is to actually know the baseline of their calculations. So what we see is that, or we would almost recommend all companies to do, to utilize the system in an easy way, like EPDs does, to calculate your baseline. Then you can make the decision, or at least you're on top of the decision, to see, are you really bad performer? Do you need to take some actions to mitigate risk? Are you a really high performer? So you actually need to take action to bring benefit from this. And then maybe it's relevant to make an EPD as well. And this is the beauty also with the EPDs, that you can create products, then you can decide what you want to do as an EPD. So we often speak about the data layer as an EPP system.
And as a customer, what kind of other types of output can I expect to be possible to do in the future?
We see, of course, there have been some delays in some of the regulations, but we see like CSRD still is quite top of mind of a lot of companies. We have CSRD coming in from the stock market. We also have CBAM, for example, for imported goods from customers outside or companies outside the EU. And then, of course, all of this is about environmental burden. And as we're utilizing the framework, not only connected to EPDs, you can as a customer also utilize the data within EPDs to generate CSRD documentation regarding environmental impact, so E1 3.1. And you can also make, for example, CBAM declarations, and of course EPDs. So the idea is to make a data layer that can fit to your different customer needs.